Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back for another update. This is going to be more of a midweek crafting update because there haven't been that many changes done to the build. I've mostly been delving today. I started this morning, haven't gotten that far. I think I'm close to depth 200 or so because I didn't get that much time to play. I know a lot of you guys love delve, so I'll be keeping you up to date with how far I can push it. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how you can craft one of these Endgame armors just like this one. I'll be going also over some very important items that you should be on the lookout for, as well as covering some general tips and tricks. So stay tuned. Alright guys, so before we get started, keep in mind that this craft might get a bit expensive. In average, you will need around 7 to 8 divines to make this work. If you're lucky, you might just get away with half of that. If you're unlucky, of course, you will probably pay more, but keep in mind that you will need around 4 orbs of dominance, at least 1 awakener's orb, and around 2 of each armor, because we will have around 50-50 chance to brick it. Okay, so let's go over it. First of all, we will be using an orb of dominance on each of these types of armors. What the orb of dominance does is it elevates one of the 2 influence modifiers. If you can see on this armor, we have 2 of them. One of them is the mana mod, it's of the conquest. The other one is the increased strength, again of the conquest. So when we are using an orb of dominance like this, it will elevate one of the mods. Let's see if we are lucky. We're unlucky, we elevated the wrong mod, but luckily we do have another one that we can try. Now, to get one of these armors, you will need to buy a Warlord Influence Astral Plate. If you want an Astral Plate, this will be our base armor. I chose Astral Plate because it has some extra elemental resistances as an implicit. You can go with whatever base armor you want, but I recommend that you use an Astral Plate for the extra resistances. So you buy an Warlord Influenced Astral Plate that is at least eye level 85. Then you put it into the bench and you recraft attack until you hit the mana mod plus another conquest modifier. Like this one has mana mod plus increased life recovery rate. Just make sure that you only have 2 of them because you can't roll 3, so then you will have a 1 in 3 chance for this to succeed. So that's how you get the astral plate. After that, you just use the Orb of Dominance until you actually elevate the mana mod. Let's try this again. And it seems like we failed again. I will have to buy another one. But before I go there, I will explain about the dexterity. So for the dex, you actually want the same thing. You want increased dexterity and a second redeemer modifier like this one. But unlike the Warlord one, this one is a lot harder to get. So what I actually recommend is that you just buy one that has a tier 1 increased dexterity and a second redeemer modifier. These can be a bit expensive. I think I got both of these for 150 chaos each. So keep that in mind. You can try and craft them yourself just by a Redeemer armor and then Chaos Orbit until you roll the increased dexterity and the second Redeemer modifier. You can also try to bench it and re-roll cold or physical until you get dexterity plus the second Redeemer modifier. But I actually recommend that you buy these because it can get quite annoying to try to roll these mods. So you're better off just buying them. Yeah, so we're gonna quickly try to elevate these and see if we need to buy some more, and then we will continue with the craft. Let's see, first one. Yeah, this one actually rolled, so this is great. I will just have to buy another astral plate and try to elevate the mana mod. This one is actually easier, so yeah. Alright, so I went ahead and bought 2 more astral plates. These cost around 50 chaos each, maybe less if you're a bit lucky. And I also bought 2 more orbs of dominance. These are around 1 divines each, so this cost me around 3 more divines. Hopefully this time I'm going to hit the correct mods. So this is how you get the 2 influence mods. You select attack, and then you roll it until you have mana mod and another conquest modifier. You just roll. You may have to roll a few times, and as you can see right here, so we have minus mana cost. We have the warlord's physical damage taken as fire, but we also have the life on hit, the life on kill. So this is a big no-no because this will give us a 1 in 3 chance to elevate the correct mod. So I'm just gonna keep rolling. Okay, so this one is correct. We have Fizz taken as fire and the mana mod, so I'm just going to try to elevate it. And again, we elevated the wrong mod. Now, if you happen to elevate the wrong mod like this one, you might still get some chaos for it, but yeah, basically you will end up losing some. So let's try the second one. Keep rolling until you get the conquest mod. Okay, so again, we get the mana mod and Fizz taken as fire, another Orb of Dominance, and another fail. So let's get some more. All right, so we're back with 2 more. Let's see if the RNG gods are with us now. So we have the mana mod, the second conquest mod, same thing for the second armor. We have the mana mod and the Fizz taken as fire. So let's see if we're lucky this time. And we actually got it. Wow, okay. So only took me 5 tries for a 50-50 chance. Well, what can you do? Okay, I'm gonna leave this one out, and now I will try to awaken it. Now, this step can break it as well. Hopefully, it's not gonna be the case. Let's see. So we first click the donor armor, the one with the text, and then we click on the astral plate and hope for the best. And we got, okay, we got the dex, we got ignore stuns, increased, okay, so we also got reflect fizz. This is not a bad roll. This is not a bad roll at all. I wish it wouldn't have rolled the life regen, because it's pretty much the worst thing that we can get, but overall not a bad roll. So what I can do with this going forward is 2 things. One of them is just leave it like it is and add a benchcraft to it, something like increased armor, life, or whatever I need. So the second thing that I can do is actually lock suffixes, so I can craft suffixes cannot be changed, and then benchcraft fire. Oh, my bad. I guess I'm a bit shell-shocked by all the losses. Okay, so we can, after that, we can reforge fire, and that will guarantee the physical damage taken from hit as fire extra on top of this. That would be a nice addition because we don't really have that much armor, so that would help a lot with the fizz damage. Okay, so this is how the end product should look like. It has double elevated mods, fizz damage taken as fire, around 2k armor. Of course, it has the elemental resistances from the implicit and a pretty low strength requirement, only 180, so not much attribute pressure. Now, obviously, we will still need to 6-socket this and then 6-link it. You can 6-link it either with fusings, with Omen of Connection, but the cheapest way, I think, is by using a Black Morrigan. Black Morrigan is a beast that you can buy for around 1.5 divines. You can use that in your bestiary and then guarantee a 6-link, so you can do that pretty easily. Now, obviously, this is not a perfect roll, but still really good armor. You can easily use this all the way to the end of the league, so I think in the end it's worth the investment. Now, keep in mind that you don't have the 8 divines that is required in average for you to craft this. It did cost me more than this, but I was pretty unlucky. It is what it is. You win some, you lose some. But like I said, if you don't have 8 divines to spare on this type of an armor, you can get it for much cheaper if you just skip the elevated process. So what you do is you get an astral plate with minus mana cost. You get another Redeemer armor with the percent dexterity, and then you just use the Awakener orb and craft yourself an armor without the elevated mods. You will pretty much get similar results. You will not have the plus level to socket dexterity gems and the immune to stuns, but otherwise it's mostly the same. But if you can afford this armor, I think it's a good investment because, like I said, it can keep you equipped until the end of the league. Now, the reason why you should be using this type of an armor, besides the obviously good stats that it has, increased dexterity, minus mana cost, and all the good stuff, it also has Redeemer influence and Warlord influence. And what this does is that it enables the use of Bound by Destiny. I have one here. Bound by Destiny, you can get it with the role that gives percent increased dexterity if you have 2 Redeemer items equipped. So once you equip the armor, you just need one more Redeemer item. The easiest way would be to equip one of these rings. This is just one I have. You can roll it the way you want. It just needs to have Redeemer influence. And once you have that, you can equip Bound by Destiny. Now, there is an additional step you can do, but it will require a lot more investment. You can actually make it so that you benefit from the second line over here, which is 10% of physical damage taken as fire damage if you have 4 Warlord items equipped. So we have one because we have the armor, and then we can actually make a double influence ring, like I'm going to make right now, right? Just like this. So we have a double influence ring. Now, of course, this is not the best roll, but I can craft on top of it. I did roll some resistance, so it's not actually bad. But now I will have 2 Warlord items equipped, and what you can do later in the game when you can afford it, you can actually craft yourself a pair of Relocash, Impatience, and a Death Rush that both have Warlord influence. I will most likely cover that in a different game because it's going to cost me around 10 divines to craft both, but I will show you exactly how, and that will give this jewel an immense value. You have 15% dexterity and 10% physical damage taken as fire. On top of that, you will have also the fist damage taken as fire from the armor. So together they give a lot of offensive bonuses as well as defensive bonuses, and the fist taken as fire is really good because we really don't have that much armor, so it will be a really great addition. Yeah, that's about it. Right, so now I'm going to quickly go over some items that I think you should be on the lookout for. Some great additions to the build. Some of them are going to be quite expensive, while some of them are actually going to be quite affordable, so make sure you stick around for all of them. First of all, we have the Devoto's Devotion with Malediction Corruption. What Malediction does is it debuffs all the nearby enemies, making them deal 10% less damage and take 10% more damage. So basically, this corruption means you have a 10% defensive and offensive buff, which is quite major, and this makes Devoto's Devotion with this corruption actually the best in slot. This is the best helmet that you can equip throughout the league. Obviously, this can get quite expensive because it's pretty rare. You cannot obtain this through normal corruption. It can only be obtained by corrupting the Ultimatum Helm. That's why you will usually only see like 1 or 2 up on the market, and they will usually go for around 10 divines, maybe sometimes more. But like I said, if you can afford buying this, absolutely buy it because you will use this all the way up to the end of the league, and it's also quite a powerful buff to your character. The only exception to this helm would be a Devoto's Devotion that has 80% reduced reservation, but that's obtainable through the same way, and that's usually actually more expensive than the Malediction one. So either way, like I said, pretty expensive, but if you can afford it, definitely a great addition. The other thing is actually quite affordable, and it's actually a Dancing Dervish that has the Resolute Technique corruption. This is really important because well, you don't have rampage up. The last thing you want is to miss attacks, and there are some monsters that are evasive, and it can be a really painful experience for you to try and proc rampage while hitting the evasive monsters. This is where resolute technique kicks in. If you have the corruption, you can guarantee hits, and that way you can guarantee that your rampage will be up as soon as possible, even with evasive monsters. Now, the second corruption that I have here is socketed gems are supported by level 10 45. This is absolutely brick. This doesn't work because the dancing dervish is not actually a gem, so it does benefit from supports. It does not benefit from gem supports like this fortify, or for example empower, things like that don't really work on it. So just make sure you look for dancing dervish with resolute technique. The second corruption that would be the best for it is either increased AoE or increased attack speed, but it doesn't really matter. The only important thing is resolute technique for this. Okay, so I already covered the Bound by Destiny. Another thing you should be on the lookout for is a Watcher's Eye. The best combination of a Watcher Eye that we can get is, first of all, Chaos Resistance while affected by Purity of Elements. This can give up to 50% Chaos Resistance. It can pretty much help you cap your chaos resistance with one single item, so it's really strong. The second thing you should usually look for is an offensive bonus. You can also get the percent maximum resistances while affected by purity of elements. That's also a solid pick, but the best offensive bonus that you can get is actually the impales that last 2 additional hits. I got this Watcher's Eye for around 2 divines. I think mostly you can find it for around 5. I was kind of lucky getting this one, but yeah, if you're really lucky, you can get one with 3 modifiers, and that should usually be chaos resistance, impales last 2 additional hits, and maybe increase physical damage by using impale. But either way, their third one is just a bonus. This is a great addition to the build as well. Okay, so the last item that I want to cover is actually the most affordable of all, and it is a rare jewel. Do not underestimate the power of a rare jewel. If you can see here, I have 16% increased global physical damage, up to 14% increased attack damage while dual wielding, as well as dexterity. And for the fourth modifier, I'm using strength here because I needed that to equip my armor, but you can actually go for something like resistances, life gain on hit, and other cool stuff. But this gives up to 30% increased damage just from the prefixes, as well as 16 dexterity and another useful mod, and this costs around 1 to 3 chaos. It's absolutely dirt cheap, and this jewel is actually so powerful that it's almost as strong as a brutal restraint with 4 modifiers that give 5% dexterity. So that is going to cost me probably a few divines, and I would only get like 1 or 2% more damage out of it. So if you can't afford expensive jewels, just socket jewels like this. Instead of increased attack damage while dual wielding, you can also get increased attack speed while dual wielding. You can get increased block chance while dual wielding. A lot of really cool mods, but if you're just looking for raw damage, you should get a triple mod like this one, and for the fourth one, either get strength or resistances or whatever else your build is lacking. Like I said, don't underestimate it. Just because it's cheap doesn't mean it's powerful. It's a really strong item. Okay, so one more thing that I remembered I should be covering is that a lot of people have been asking me about the flasks, so I'm quickly going to go over what I'm using and why. So first of all, we have the replica Witchfire's Brew. This grants us vulnerability. It's a really great flask, really cheap. I think it's only a few chaos. You should enchant this with used when you block or when you reach maximum charges. Either way, it's going to be up as soon as it's filled. So yeah, really good flask, a cheap one. Next, I'm using elemental flasks. These are mostly for simulacrums because in simulacrum you have a lot of elemental penetration mods, so it's dangerous. That's why I'm using them. If you're not doing really hard content like simulacrum or deep delve or things like that, you can probably use whatever flask you want. You can use like an armor flask, evasion flask, like quicksilver flask, or whatever you feel like. The best modifiers that you can get on any flask is usually gain 3 charges when you are hit by an enemy. You actually need at least item level 81 for this. So you can roll this through using alterations. When I'm going into Simulacrum, I actually replace my Quicksilver flask with a Chaos flask, Resistance flask, and that's because the bosses in Simulacrum deal a lot of physical damage and a lot of chaos damage. So with my current chaos resistance, I would get one shot a lot, so that's why I'm changing the flasks. That's pretty much it for the flasks. A lot of flexibility here. What you actually want is to have gain 3 charges when you are hit by an enemy. That is massive, and it's almost going to guarantee a maximum uptime. Even on most bosses that attack you will still grant you a lot of uptime for the flasks. That's about it. So that's pretty much it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you have any kind of questions, feel free to leave a comment and I will do my best to answer them. You can also join the Discord chat. We have a lot of helpful and friendly people over there as well, so I will link it in the description. As far as my next update, it's probably going to be a week 1 overview, and it's going to be posted somewhere around Friday, so make sure you stay tuned for that. If you are enjoying these updates, please remember to drop a comment, leave a like. That lets me know that you're enjoying them, so I'll keep making them. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great week. Bye.